Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason, where today we are spawning into a beautiful match of Rosetta. It's going to be played by some Cortex, Armada, and of course Legion commanders, just like our blue team leader who's spawning right up here in front of us, a blue commander that goes by the name of Shah. Pro Shah, going to be spawning here at 38 open skill and right up in the front line position here as a Legion commander. This gets really interesting when you start to do the math of it, and we'll break it all down right after we meet our red team leader, spawning on the southern side here in the... I guess this is like the aggressor position, because typically this is the one that wins this side and then steamrolls the southern side, and then makes their way northward here. It's going to be our red team leader, Zar XT4, or Zar T4, am I supposed to ignore the X, or is it like Zarks to 4? Zarta? Not entirely sure. The red commander, spawning on the southern side, as an Armada commander. Going to be playing some of that good old-fashioned Armada. It's good and it's you know, classic, as they would say. 8-bit Poro, the yellow commander, are going to be supporting with some Legion shenanigans, and I'm thrilled to see it. We've officially made it, ladies and gentlemen. Even the pros are happy to play a little bit of Legion here and there. It used to be pretty much non-stop bickering, complaints about Imba and all that sort of stuff. Nowadays, Legion definitely in a spot where most people are comfortable, at the very least, playing with it or playing against it. Not every game, maybe, but yeah, certainly it pops up more and more recently. So, one of the reasons why I bring up that this is really interesting is because, my goodness, you lose 2 metal per second when you're Legion and you're claiming this mechs right here. I mean, that's basically one of these other metal extractors. It's like a whole extra mechs you're not getting out of this 10 metal per second metal extractor, but you don't get any extra energy relative to how much you would get out of a regular one. So you can see this 8 metal per second metal extractor gives you 7. This metal extractor also gives you 7. One of the things that I've lobbied for that I feel is probably... I don't know that it would break the balance of Legion necessarily, but that I definitely think would be an interesting area to explore is essentially a system where you get more metal based on, or you get metal based on the amount of, you get energy based on the amount of metal you lose. Does that make sense? You're losing 2 metal here, so you should get more energy, whereas you're only losing, what is that, 0.2 metal, 0.4 metal? You should probably get a little bit less. And I don't know how much energy to metal should be related, like I don't know what the ratio is, if it should be 2 metal for 7 energy, or... you know, 0.4 metal for 7 energy. I don't know where that balance lies. I would absolutely leave that up to the Legion devs. They've done a fabulous job of bringing things into balance nowadays. But I feel like it is one of those things that just kind of makes a little bit of sense, you know? It's like commanders not being able to degun each other. We should probably also give energy for the amount. I mean, look how fast that thing is spinning. Surely there's a way that... there's no way that's not making more energy, right? I mean, spinning that quickly? I don't know. Okay, this makes a lot of sense here. So we're going to go for the overcharged metal extractor. Now, interestingly, the overcharged metal extractor takes a bunch of energy to build. It's 5,000 energy just to build it, and then an additional 30 energy per second just to keep it up and running, which is the reason why we've gone ahead for this very, very early advanced solar collector. It does make a lot of sense, though. Obviously, that's going to be now 20 metal per second, going back to the blue commander. Once we have that overcharged mechs up and running, it doubles the metal of the metal extractor spot right there, so we are going to see a huge jump in economy, where all of a sudden, Che has a huge start on this high ground here. Had to essentially be protected by the team the entire time. That was a very vulnerable position, but the blue team risked it for the biscuit. Now they're in a great spot. However, overcharged mechs up and running right here for the hot pink commander as well. This seems to be a prevailing strategy. Maybe some new tech being developed here and there, as the hot pink commander and the blue commander here are both going to be going for that overcharged mechs gaming on the midsection. It's very rare in the 8v8 meta that Legion commanders have the opportunity to get these overcharged mechs out. Usually T2 constructors come up before it's even viable. My goodness. I want to fanboy more about Legion, but there's so much aggression going on the southern side. I already pointed out that this was the side to be aggressive from, but my goodness, didn't expect Zar to take the cake and completely overwhelm the base over here. We do have a bunch of these Alaris, the fast assault tanks here, but they weren't being used on the defense, and well, just like that. Seafoam Green Commander Diggy Dog does lose it all on the front line here. Alright, well, 2 options at this point. Build a lab on the front line and hope you can hold it and maybe make an advantage out of it. Or I guess you go back and you try and rebuild all this, but man... 9 metal per second, now not going into the economy right here of the not hot pink, rather, Seafoam Green. Struggling with my colors here as we're already off to a ripping start. We have, likewise, and actually a fabulous push over on the northern side. More Alaris, actually almost a mirrored matchup. We have the Alaris moving forward here, and gonna go ahead and blast down a whole bunch of those, or pardon me, the Blitz is moving forward and killing the Alaris here for the Maroon Commander. That's gonna be Gurth. Or Gurth? I'm not entirely sure. Gorth. Napalm Launcher Barrage trying to deal with all this. I mean, you know, Doing a little bit of damage to those blitzes, not the end of the world, but yeah, shutting down that geothermal is huge. It's a wonderful snipe. It was nearly completed, so all that metal gets evaporated. We don't even get the wreckage to reclaim all that, and then of course also 300 energy per second not going back into the economy right now of the Maroon Commander. Midsection of the map turning into a little bit of a Decurion fest. We've got those heavy assault tanks, armored assault tanks moving out on the field. Fractal Hex, ooh, in a little bit of trouble. Man, Decurions are oppressive. Against commanders, Decurions are pretty much unstoppable. The effect that they can have with their Gatling guns, I mean, look at that. Even though they're inaccurate, so many of their bullets still happen to hit. Oh my goodness. Looking unstoppable. Well, the Decurion is the tank to beat currently. It is the effectively a T2 tank out of the T1 laboratory. It has enough HP to contend with T2 forces. It's just super expensive. However, when your economy is boosted as it is right now with that super heavy metal extractor, yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Coupled with the build power here from the commander, I love to see that. Going to go ahead and repair those Decurions so that they, yeah, don't die on the front line here. We have the construction turrets also repairing the Decurion for the hot pink commander, but there's 3 and now 4 for the blue commander. That snowballing effect has already been well made advantage of. Well, this is what Legion dreams are made out of, certainly. Maximum DACA on the front line here today. Blue commander, eager to continue pushing in here. That the one pink Decurion standing against the wave of blue Decurions. In an interesting way, it gets easier to kill these Decurions as more and more of them come out, because the blue commander can only repair 1 or 2 of them at a time, so it means the repair power is a little bit skewed. Where is the response from team? Can we get some shuriken on the field? Can we maybe get some bombers on the field? Could we get a whole bunch of bots running forward? Anything at this point to try and stop this, but the Decurion just march. Yeah, they don't care at this point. They've built enough of them. That's the blue commander anyways, has built enough of them. And now they're rolling into the pink main facility here. Well, alright, that's a fabulous position to be in here for the blue commander. At the very least, even if these all get cleaned up, now production is halted. We have a single constructor right here with the commander going down as well, and all that metal reclaimed for the blue commander. There's another 4 or so Decurion if we want to just put it into some more of those assault tanks here. A couple of Helios out, the slightly faster, high damage, low HP tanks. There's a shuriken. Just too late. Overcharge mechs falls. Laboratory crumbles as well here. And the base is toast. Shit, I couldn't hope for a better start right here. This is absolutely phenomenal. If we can reclaim all this metal, it'll be an easy way to transition into T2. In fact, to be surprised if we didn't see T2 coming up very, very shortly. We already have a nice amount of build power here, but I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more. We have the T2 mechs queued up here as well, and a giant blue force still on the other side of the map, still ready to cause issues. And Sheh is happy to eat up all of this. Yeah, brought the commander along for the repair, going to keep the commander along for the reclaim. 400 metal in this laboratory, a couple hundred metal out of these solar panels as well. All said and done, around 3,000 metal in total. Most of it's been reclaimed already. Probably closer to 4,000 actually with that commander's corpse. What a ginormous advantage right now for the blue commander. A commander that is looking a little weak at this point. 47% HP left on the blue commander. Plenty of units to escort that commander, but if it does go down, it would be devastating. Glad to see the units moving beyond the commander's reach here because, yeah, don't want to lose all your units to the commander. That would be brutal. There's a sneaky resbot. Managing to grab a whole bunch of the metal now from the hot pink base. Sheh building some of these anti-air turrets. Not only to kill shuriken, but also to shoot down some of the fighters that might be lingering around. Lovely stuff. Tanks are just sitting idle, and obviously those picking up speed. You'll notice that the hot pink commander, Fractal Hex, actually tapped out of the game. Not willing to even stay in the match at this point. Going to leave the match. It's a frustrating one to lose that quickly. We're only 9 minutes into this game, and we've already lost the entire base here for the hot pink commander. Meanwhile, Grafzal, the lime green commander on the southern side, also succeeding quite nicely. The thugs are pushing forward here. The only lane, I would say, that the red team is actually actively winning is the southern one, and even then, it's a little bit contested. Despite Diggy Dog's early snipe right here, or rather, Czar's snipe on Diggy Dog. Yeah, I would say the Seafoam Green Commander has managed to build back into a decent position. At this point, handing over a ton of energy to the Green Commander. Looks like Grafzal has built that geothermal, and now will be reaping the benefits here of 2 geothermals, now up and running. 600 energy per second, going to be more efficient than any amount of solar panels. And we've got thugs marching their way across the field here. Giant armies pushing into the back lines right now of the entire red team. This looks like a GG. This is a this is a phenomenal start right here for the blue team. I mean, basically, this is a GG situation. The red team really needs a big comeback here in order to, well, come back into this game. There's a few options that exist very early into this part of the game, one of which could be a big spy bot connection. But essentially, all of them revolve around getting a, well, several thousand metal worth of reclaim. Prometheus, very heavy assault heat ray tank now on the field. It will be enough to clean up these Helios. It's kind of the big brother to the Helios, firing a sustained heat ray beam, very similar to what the Helios does, but just a little bit more powerful. Quite a bit more expensive as well, though, so very difficult to field here, running over these wreckages and ruining a bunch of the metal. But already the damage has been done. I mean, that's an entire another commander. XL Sippy Cup, the extra large Sippy Cup, gonna go down. All the advanced solars, all the rest of it falls here. Thanatos now ravaging the base. Oh no, pardon me, those are defensive Thanatos, ravaging the blue commander, trying to shut down. Wow, what a greedy stance right here, trying to set up the AMAX on the enemy side of the field. If you can get it up and running, it's 40 metal per second. It's tremendous. But that is a... Well, obviously, closer to the enemy means a whole lot closer to the enemy's units, right? The enemy's defenses. Couple of bombers in the area, trying their best. There's a little bit of anti-air that was actually set up over here, so they do kind of have to be careful. The Thanatos is going to be quite good at dealing with big clumps of units like this. Even better, though, are these Phalanx, the shielded riot defense bots. They effectively stop units. That's like their job. They impulse units so badly that they stop in their tracks. Especially vehicles, but even bots to a specific degree. They combo nicely with a lot of the other Legion tech, like the Thanatos, but also like the Napalm units, because they impulse those units to stop them from moving. It means that they're a much easier target for a lot of these salvo-type weapons to hit. We have the right tools for the job, it's just about having enough of them, and I don't think we do. Yeah, Decurions are going to be moving forward from the early stage of this game. You can see silver bars on that one. An experienced tank. Once they get a little bit of experience, it negates that accuracy penalty that they have. They sort of innately have a very low accuracy. Once they get a little experience, that actually improves, and all of a sudden their once fairly inaccurate, I would say, Gatling cannon turns into effectively a laser beam. They can become very dangerous at that point.
Commander destroyed.
Yellow Commander forced completely into production. We do have enough T2 metal extractors at this point, loads of them actually, to keep up the T2 production. We have some hoplites coming out here, as well as the Phalanx to assist with all this. They will save, at the very least, the laboratory here for the Brown Commander. Takes some heavy hits, loses some metal extractors, and of course the T2 construction bot, which is a bummer. Yeah, that is a lot of metal that's down on this side of the map. Wow, nearly 5,000 on this side of the map here. If we could take all this metal, feed it back to our T2 commander. There's the Cyan commander going down, by the way. Those Prometheus heavy assault heat ray tanks, pretty good. Pretty good. Where's our T2 transition back here? Oh, we didn't have one. Okay, well, we're going into it now, but this is pretty late, actually. I was expecting this T2 transition to have happened already for the blue commander.
Commander self-destructed.
Wow. Red commander goes down. Tank commander self-destructs in the base. I didn't see units on the minimap. Was this an in-base self-destruct for Candace Fit? Wow. Anyway. Anyway, some brutal morale hits here for the red team. My goodness. Not to put anybody on blast or anything, but whew. We've gone salt mining today. We've struck pay dirt. Prometheus rolling out and having a wonderful time. Some of the red commanders maybe not so much, but definitely these two Prometheus brothers having a phenomenal time blasting away a whole bunch of these units. Relatively short-sighted. They don't have very much vision. They can't see very far. They're also relatively slow. They're kind of a weird unit. They require a lot of support to be used effectively, but when you get them into the proper matchup, I mean, especially against T1, of course, but really you want to use them against even some of the bigger, like, sturdier units. They're kind of interesting. They're a single target and a anti-spam unit. Because they can switch targets with that heavy laser beam, they can do a lot of different things here. Mosquitoes in the air, doing a great job of blasting a bunch of this down, causing a bunch of problems, and actually, I mean, yeah, actually a huge issue for Prometheus tanks. One of their glaring weaknesses is just absolutely no way of dealing with air. They need some sort of flak track. Now, luckily, Legion does have one of the best, actually all of the best anti-air, I would say, in the game, yeah. Their static anti-air turrets, their anti-air trucks, and even their anti-air bots are all phenomenal. So much metal available for the reclaim. We do have res bots going about and
Commander
reclaiming a
has
whole
died.
bunch of this, but we need to put the metal into T2 units. Like feeding this metal back to the orange commander or feeding it back to the yellow commander or 2 T2 production centers. It's going to be the best move right now. T1 and T2 defense, or well, offensive push here. Shell shockers and what are those? Mauser, that's right. How could I forget the humble Mauser? Probably my favorite artillery piece. Thematically wonderful. Looks like the ticks here will be cleaned up. The Prometheus will defend this, and my goodness, 0% HP remaining on that geothermal power plant. Just barely enough. Like they always say, the only HP that matters is the last one. I think it just went down to. Its conversion cell is ruptured, and it does go down. Diggy Dog in a little bit of trouble here. Those hoplites pretty quick to destroy those commanders, and boom goes the commander right next to the geothermal as well, taking out tons of energy production right now for Diggy Dog on the southern side. Go, 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 go. If there's a moment to bring this game back around, it's right exactly now. Hoplites moving forward. Phalanx doing a wonderful job of intercepting any kind of spam that might be out on the field. Right now, it's just a couple of these Lance, the long-range rail cannons. The AoE, though, from the Phalanx, also quite good for dealing with things like construction towers. And there we go. The construction towers pop, the build power is gone. A couple of drones in the air, but they really can kind of just shrug off those attacks. The Phalanx have quite a lot of armor when they have their shields up and running. They basically get a huge HP boost. Once the shield falls away, they lose a big portion of that. So that's one of their interesting mechanics. If nothing else, Legion is the faction of interesting mechanics. Northern side. Now handed all entirely over to the to the Orange Commander. Well, all right, we've set ourselves into a little bit of a 2v8 here, as we do have the Tan Commander, who self-deed and has not been retaken here. So this has just basically been an idle Air Force. There's not even any production here, so this is just idle units. It looks like the Brown Commander is still in the game. We'll be finishing up that T2 laboratory here very shortly. And I would love to see an expansion here. So pumping out one of those T2 constructors, we do have it queued up here to go grab, if not this metal extractor, at the very least, all the other metal extractors over here. Giant Prometheus push over here. My goodness, there's not going to be a lot that stands up to this many Prometheus tanks. Love that the metal extractor, or the metal slider rather, has been set real low here as well. That's a wonderful team strategy here. When we get down to this few of commanders, it really does make sense to set those sliders down. Just share the eco with everybody. At the very least, it makes sense to do that so that you don't have to worry about, you know, if one side of the map gets underwhelmed or overwhelmed, you can reap the benefits of this push, even if you're on the other side of the map, effectively. Yeah, a lot of eco coming up right here, but for the time being, the red team actually has the map control. All of the presence on the map, and that's really all it takes. Mammoth's trying to move into position. They're very slow, creepy crawling their way across the landscape here. I really do feel like they look much more, I don't know, ominous. They look like a much more ominous warbot, right? You could just drop one of these on modern-day Earth, and nothing we could do could ever damage it. We would, like, just drop nukes on this thing all day long, and it would just dig a big hole for it, but it really would never damage the Mammoth. That's kind of the feeling that I get from it. Oh, just moments away from the Bastion's completion. Oh, no. The Blue Commander knows it. Oh, the Bastion goes down right as it finishes, just as the assault is ongoing. And just like that, the Blue Commander loses the high ground. 40 metal per second down the drain for the Blue Commander. The hill is lost. Tritons rolling out of the laboratory. They're just not going to be enough. They've received a couple of changes, some nerfs mostly, as after their showcase in the recent tournaments. They definitely needed a little bit of a tuning, but they have received it at this point and are not the all-saving grace that they once were. And so now Triton's not going to save the day here. We do have the hoplites in the backline. We need to see these spread out ever so slightly to have a little bit of a wider effect, but look at that. The blue base is completely shut down. The fusion reactor is still up and running, but it doesn't matter. There's no laboratories to produce anything. It's not like the Blue Commander can even make anything. There's no laboratories. There's a single T2 vehicle constructor, so it'd take quite a while to get back into any kind of tech that can be useful. No way they've just done it. We've got a green army encroaching actually on the brown facility here. Laboratory also dead on the southern side. Mosquitoes are trying their best. Oh, the gladiators! Prometheus, I mean, rather. They've torn through the entire northern side. There's nothing to stop them. They're too heavy. Boom goes the commander as the fusions pop, and now the Aphis are in trouble. Okay. Well, just like that, ladies and gentlemen, the northern side has been scrambled. There goes the Cyan base. Prometheus making their way southward now. What are we going to do about the influx of ultra-heavy tanks? For 1,250 metal, you get 8,000 HP worth of tank. relatively unstoppable. The Air Forces have been a pain here. I really would like to see... I would hope at this point that we would see the Air Forces grabbed right now by the... well, any of these commanders. Maybe the Brown Commander can manage it. The Prometheus just have the punching power. Hitting way above their weight class here. Breaking into these bases. Crippling the economies. The blue team won the entire match, shutting down every single one of these commanders, but it turns out that if you focus all the economy into unit production, all of a sudden you end up with several thousand extra metal on the field that your opponent is putting into aphises and fusion reactors and other scaling in the backline. Well, you end up in a pretty good situation. Turns out dumping multiple dozens of thousands of metal into the heaviest tank out of the T2 Legion laboratory puts you in a pretty good spot, yeah. Mammoths in position to defend. They're difficult to break. They're not difficult to circumnavigate, though. You just go around them and you're pretty much set. Hoplite's gonna charge. Mammoths are effectively the anti-spam you want against hoplites. This is like the hard counter. Yeah. Not much effect there, but these ones moving southward I expect to get much more value here. There's not really a lot to intercept this. We have sprinters running into the grunts here, and well, grunts are nice, but again, not really the end-all be-all against this T2 spam. We also have the mosquitoes still in the air, but there are still fighters available, I'd like to point out. Quick shots ravaging this base over here. Can we please take the fighters? That's why it's important if you're going to resign from a game, at the very least handle your units to somebody so they don't get forgotten about. Nobody wants to be the person to get in the air at this point. We do have those AA bots coming out, though, and they're super powerful. They have a long-ranged rail cannon anti-air gun. They also have a light AA machine gun. Both of which tremendously effective. Stop running into the mammoths. The mammoths are not where you really want to put your lighter hoplite units. They just aren't the unit to fight with those. If we could add all help it anyways. Jedi loves to kill.
Destroyed.
Not paying attention. No D-guns flung from the Lavender Commander. It does mean that they'll get the secured kill on one more comm. Okay. Yeah, well, mosquitoes are in the air, but there's never going to be another one here. Prometheus, when it has the energy to fire, taking the shot. And alright. Somehow, after the most insane match of Beyond All Reason, the craziest back and forth, we've ended up with a red team advantage. We've got a giant procession of Prometheus making their way across the field here. Now can we have some eco-scaling? Just a drop, please. One Aphis in the backline wouldn't be a bad idea. At this point, you needed to power these Prometheus. So much metal being spent right here by the red team. But they are spending it. That's the major difference, I suppose. The red team really had an energy disadvantage here. 11,000 energy versus the blue team 17,000. Goes to show how much that eco is paid for. Sprinters make it into the backline. They don't manage to do too much damage, or at least they shouldn't. Oh, at least they shouldn't. Oh, no. Oh, okay. We do reclaim them. If those had managed to chain react to build power, that would have been awful. But yeah, as the yellow commander has just pointed out, they have a T3 lab up and running, and more importantly than that, they have scouted that there's a T3 lab up and running. Times like these, with the battlefield littered with wreckage, I would love to see some T1 aircons moving out to try and reclaim stuff. Oftentimes, T1 aircons can have much more of an effect reclaiming in weird parts of the map that otherwise most other units would struggle. The mammoths here. Stellar for the defense. Effectively an HLT, but with, I don't know, 10 times the HP, something like that. One or two AA trucks in the mix here, though, please. At this point, it's negligent not to include some anti-air. These mosquitoes have gotten more kills on these Prometheus than literally any other unit in this game. They do find the remnants of a powder blue facility on this side of the map, though. Fusion reactors. The primary target. And with that facility down, we were suddenly swept into a 2v2? We've got the Orange Commander on the northern side, pumping out units, and Well, not doing much at this point, actually. Just worried about micro units, really. And we've got the yellow commanders spewing out a whole bunch of these fast-paced sprinting units. Look at that. We've actually gotten Air Force at this point. Loads of Satyr being queued up here as the T3 laboratory spews out a whole bunch of these Shiva. Now, this is a good decision. Shiva are relatively effective for their cost. They're super cheap relative to how much value they can have. 1,500 metal to put those out in the field. For context, the Mammoth here is 2,200, so almost double. But here we go. Defenses on the northern side were too shallow, and just like that, a whole bunch of sprinters managed to make it past, followed up very shortly after by an entourage, a complement of hoplites. Still not sure what the names for pluralities of a whole bunch of the Legion units are, but anyways. Will we be popping the E-converters? It looks like that's the goal. Boom go the E-converters, build power. Ooh, doesn't chain react all the way, but it will not matter. Shouldn't matter. 4% HP left on the Aphis here. Yellow Commander worried about the Satyr here, not paying attention actually to the units that are in the backline, already destroying the base, and boom goes the purple facility. The Satyrs plummet out of the sky and into the laboratory. Not reducing it to rubble, just barely, I think. Yeah, about a quarter of its HP left. It's rubble HP left. Huh. Well, anyways. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, if ever there was an advertisement for units, period, this must have been the game. What a stellar comeback right here for the red team, who believed all hope was lost from minute one after losing the central hill, which only just now gets a T2 metal extractor. The blue team is forced to relent after overwhelming, oppressive barrage from the northern side from the Prometheus tanks. It's our red team that manages to take the victory. Orange and yellow commanders with the absolute shout-out of the Century, 8-Bit Poro, and Chocolate Bar stealing the victory here. What a showing from those two heroes. Thanks a ton for watching, folks. If you enjoyed this high-octane game of Beyond All Reason, feel free to like and subscribe and join the channel to support the cause. And I hope to see you again in the very next match of Beyond All Reason.